What up, y'all? Welcome back. Rambles from the Garden, Season 3 premiere, I guess if you want to call it that. Brought to you by Anchor FM, the best free podcast website on the market. I'm here with my partner, Nick Rinaldi, as you all remember.
Hello, hello, hello.
We're here after a very long and quiet summer of not podcasting, and we want to get into your ear holes and talk about some stuff. Nick, I don't know if you had anything you particularly wanted to jump in on, because you did kind of initiate this episode today.
Yeah, I thought, if season's starting, let's have a ramble show, because it's kind of appropriate considering like preseason is going to start on Tuesday. So that'll be obviously preseason's preseason, but like that'll be the first actual view that we'll get of like this Knicks team, despite it being like a quarter of the starters even in. So I mean, we can really start anywhere. Like I feel like it might be the most appropriate to start with like the biggest thing. And I want to clarify. Maybe if you want to talk about this, Rob, we can. But no Donovan Mitchell this podcast. We're moved on. He's not coming here. We didn't do the trade. Where some people are happy with it. I'm personally happy with it. It is what it is. He's not here. So he's not here in the season. So he's not a part of the season preview.
No.
That's my point of view.
There's no point in talking about it. As it is, like, getting Donovan Mitchell is always going to be a challenge. And, Nick's Twitter was divided on it all summer. And there's no need to talk about Donovan Mitchell. I mean, the hopefuls that want to be mad that we didn't get him, sure. But, like, I don't think he was the franchise alterer that everybody thinks he is. I don't care if he's a superstar. He's not the guy that you give up the package for. We're over it. We got Brunson. We signed him. He was a good signing. That's where we can transition to, I guess.
So we're over it. We're building with the youth. Yeah, I think that's a great transition. Is the acquisition of JB?
Yeah, we're. New York's just basically keeping it the same as last year with the addition of Brunson now, obviously, and one second. Sorry. The Brunson acquisition, I think is already a good step in the right direction. There was no need to get Donovan Mitchell and have two small guards. Again, no more Donovan Mitchell talk. The other things that are cool to talk about, obviously, are RJ's extension and Mitch's extensions. They both technically broke the Charlie Ward curse now. That is now two Knicks players on the rookie contracts that finally got the extensions that they deserved.
Hell yeah.
And I mean, the RJ extension definitely brought up some, not with Knicks fans, so to speak, but like other people, I guess, who are like, for instance, like the Tyler Hero fanatics saying like, oh, he's an overpay and blah, 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 and Tyler Hero's better, all that. And it actually brought Tyler Hero to saying something recently that Carlos brought to my attention.
So
just basically that he was saying.
Do we want to talk about the extension, or do we want to jump into the JB acquisition first?
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. We could go based off one or the other.
Cool.
The Brunson signing was the first transaction that was big, so definitely get into that.
Cool. Yeah. I feel like, we've been, I guess, to start with like the Jalen Brunson acquisition. Just because like the extensions came afterwards. Yeah, man, I was, as I'll share like how I felt personally from the beginning, and then now how I feel with him going into the season.
I was did a little flip flop.
Yeah, well, that's what other people want to call it, but I think I was consistent in my argument.
No, 100%
I think
fair.
like during the draft, we were trying to get off Kemba. This was back when people were trying to acquire Jaden Ivey. We were rumored to have given up like 3 first-round picks or something along those lines, like 2 first-round picks to attach to Kemba to trade to Detroit. I think in that deal, like we actually got some picks back as well. But that was the first really indicator that we were going to go for Jalen Brunson, because we were trying to clear out more cap space to actually make that signing. At this point, I was not too happy that we were willing to give up youth. I wanted to, try to trade up for Jaden Ivey if they could. I believe Leon and Co. did their very best to try to do so. So I was opposed to it. I'm like, look, Jalen Brunson is not a guy that is going to make you this championship caliber team, and giving up first round assets is not worth it. But upon acquiring him, and understanding like his play style, his ability to play in transition, his ability to use footwork, his demeanor, his toughness, and his ability to just sort of lead, like, we saw him lead the Mavericks in the playoffs with Luka out. I think it's a fantastic addition to this team. And plain and simple, we really haven't had a good point guard in 20 years. I mean, Raymond Felton was maybe the best one that we've had. Man, you could argue, Stephon Marbury years ago. That was a long time ago. It's a different game today. And Jalen Brunson's 25 years old, man. I don't remember if you know the specifics of the contract, Rob. I'm actually trying to look right now. It looks like, 4-year, $104 million.
Anyone that wants incentives, I think, to go up a little bit, but I don't remember the stuff about that.
That makes sense. I mean, there's probably incentives to make an all-star team. I know it is declining. So like this year he's making 27 million, and by the end of by the player option year in 4 years, it's going to be $24 million contract. With the salary cap going up, that's a great contract. We're getting him before he enters his prime. And he's still a part of the youth. I mean, he's 25 years old. Like, that is still technically a part of this youth movement of the team. And the way he presents himself, he doesn't seem like he's that young. So I think, honestly, it's a great signing. It's going to be nice to have some structure at point guard and have someone take the ball up the court, and really run an offense outside of, RJ and Randle. And I think, despite my desire for RJ to be the guy and take those difficult shots at the end of the game, he's got the ability to be a closer, which is something we lacked, which Randle doesn't have the ability to do. And RJ has some of the highest field goal percentage in the fourth quarter out of all players in the NBA. But despite that, he doesn't always have to be that guy to look for to be the closer. He has a little bit difficulty, creating shots off the dribble. Hopefully we see an improvement on that, more on that later. But I think, that'll be a big addition is, consider the last 2 years, how many games we actually lost, but how many games we lost because we just couldn't close out in the fourth quarter. A lot of them. So I think that addition will help. So that's just my general summation of, why I like the signing, why initially I was opposed, Yeah,
no, 100%. All fair points too. And, I've been behind the Brunson signing since before it ever happened, as you know, and I was arguing with you on draft night about it. And, at the end of the day, we're both on the same page now. I think Brunson's performance in the playoffs this past season definitely makes him stick out. And I think it's going to help the Knicks in the long run, ultimately. And like you said, he's 25, turning 26, or is already 26. He's got that descending contract. Sorry. And, that's only going to help the Knicks in the upcoming seasons, being able to sign other people if they need to, other superstars, trading for other superstars if need be, so they have the room to pay them. The Knicks still have their war chest of picks and stuff and youth. So if, they do want to move on from like an Emmanuel Quickly, a Quentin Grimes, et cetera, they can still do that. But, they don't have to, they can be more selective, I guess, with how they package things. Because, I mean, this summer was also just a rare instance in, NBA movement and NBA player movement and stuff. The Rudy Gobert trade, set the world on fire, basically. So, that Danny Ainge was trying to exploit each and every team he could to get as much as possible. And
inflated everything, man. Yeah. The whole trade market. Horrible.
Yeah. The inflation in the trade market this year was incredible. So, Brunson, I think, is going to be a nice positive. I think he's going to help even like RJ and Randle, who's been in the league for 9 years now. I think they're going to grow and be better for it, knowing that Brunson can be there facilitating and orchestrating things. Because, I mean, we've seen it. You could watch all the highlights. And, I don't watch full Mavericks games, but you could just see that Brunson knows what he's doing. He knows how to break down defenders. And doing that and being able to pass out of those situations is exactly something that the Knicks have needed, like you said, for at least 3 decades now. You got a little bit of it from Randle, the year that they made the 4th seed. But I mean, that's shouldn't be his role. He shouldn't be the point forward. He can do it sometimes. I don't think doing it all the time and sticking to that as a game script is a good idea. So Brunson's going to help out there, and I think RJ is also going to benefit like the most possibly because he'll have better opportunities to score
Yep.
in comfortable positions that he likes to work with. He'll be open more. He'll have slashing opportunities. Um, like they Dibs, if he's learned anything, might be able to write a plays for RJ and Brunson combined. It's just gonna be a nice little tandem.
Yeah, I think he'll really add some relief for Julius Randle and RJ Barrett's responsibilities as the primary ball handlers and offensive machines on the team.
Yeah.
And I think JB's ability to move off ball too is going to be really key. My one concern is going to be and I don't know if we want to transition into potential lineups or if we want to transition to something else or keep talking about Jalen Brunson, but is defensively. I didn't really get a lot of opportunities to observe Brunson defensively last year. And I mean, he is a small guard. I don't know, of his like competence on the perimeter. But I know, that a lot Dallas did have, some decent perimeter defenders, Dorian Finney-Smith being one of them. So, there were ways to sort of like hide, a poor defender like Brunson on defense. Not calling him poor, I'm just saying based on his size, an easy mismatch. I have concerns about, him and Fournier starting in that in that 1-2 spot as defenders. But again, we can talk about this now or talk about this later, but hoping, a closing lineup may be different than an opening lineup where you may actually insert Quentin Grimes into that role instead of Fournier. That might sort of ease some of my concern because that'll sort of be down the stretch. So that's really my only concern, but because those mismatches will get exposed in like the playoffs and stuff. God willing, we make it that far. But other than that, I think, this was the signing to make. We got him on a good deal, especially with the salary cap going up, like I said. So let's say he's 28 and we want to move on him, but we really want to get that big fish with the war chest that you said. We can make a move in 2025, 2026 or not, or, Brunson is our guy and we keep him. But either way, I mean, you want to look at the paid point guards. I mean, I think Terry Rozier and Mike Conley make more money than Jalen Brunson. He's like the 20th most paid guy at the point guard position. Like, we're good, man. Like, people just want to shit on the Knicks. They always want to find a way to like say, wow, what a joke. Oh my God, the mid three, like Brunson, RJ, and Randle. But Knicks fans aren't clamoring like we're winning a chip this year. So I don't really understand the hate, but that's a whole different avenue.
Yeah.
I can go down.
No,
So,
it's
I just want to compete.
100%, and Brunson's going to be that competitive nature that they need. I mean, going back to the lineup situation, there's been back and forth about it all summer long, and I think Thibodeau more or less confirmed that nothing's really changed from what we expected. Starting 5 seems to just be the usual plus Brunson in place of Kemba Walker and Elfrid Payton, Elfrid Payton didn't play with Fournier, but so that backcourt's probably going to stay the same. Brunson and Fournier are not the best defensive duo. I do know that early on, after Brunson, or right before he was signed, there's that little graphic that showed Brunson's defensive metrics compared to like Derrick Rose, Quickly. Was Kemba there? I think Kemba Walker was there. I don't remember, but in contrast or in comparison to all 3 of them, the Knicks guards were already like they were boasting some high numbers. Brunson was down on a lot of them, but he did still hold up. I think a lot of it just depends on his effort. If he's trying on defense, that's already good enough for me. Because he is small, so he has to be a little bit scrappier than most. But like, Fred VanVleet's short and also just a legitimately good defender. I don't see why Brunson can't at least like get midway to that performance. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. And Thibodeau is a defensive-minded coach. You know, he does make better defenders out of his players.
Exactly. He gets the best out of them. He can get the best of them on that end.
And despite his signing, you know, he's not, you know, one of the positives about Tom Thibodeau is that he's not going to let Jalen Brunson, you know, like Jalen Brunson will pay the consequences if he doesn't commit on defense, you know. You know, I actually, I hope, you know, we've seen Thibodeau be a little bit inconsistent in holding players accountable. You know, showcase Julius Randle for this last season, matter of fact. But I got to think with Jalen Brunson, you know, his dad's a part of that coaching staff. You know, they know what to do. So that I'm putting my trust in them, at least in enforcing, you know, this guy who could be a defensive liability at times to commit to you have more effort on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, funny enough, we don't have to talk about it at all, but you mentioned Rick Brunson is one of the assistant coaches, and also currently going on, I believe, is still an investigation into the tampering that the Knicks might have partaken in.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, like, it was all leading up to it anyway. Like, you know, Julius, Allen Houston, Worldwide West, and whoever else went to that Dallas Jazz game. You know, incidentally, Brunson was on the market, and then Donovan Mitchell's has always been like in murky water with Utah. So like we didn't really know what was going on there.
Yeah.
But that happens, and then the Knicks signed Rick Brunson, and it's like, okay, we see what's going on here. Not surprising. I do think the Knicks get punished. If it's anything more severe than like a second round pick or something, like I'm done with the NBA at that point. You know,
that's it. That's the last straw.
Like that wouldn't even be like the worst thing that a team had to have done to tamper. So I just foresee it like the Knicks for clicks moments, like the PTSD of just like something bad happening, and then it's like, oh my god, always the Knicks. But that tampering thing's like obsolete to me. I don't even give a shit. I'm just happy where we're at right now.
My quick 2 cents on that is like I think everyone's tampering. You know, you just want to set an example. You know, I think the Knicks are the most valued team in the NBA, or is it the Lakers? I'm not sure.
I think the Knicks are still the number one most valued, and the Lakers are just short behind.
Right.
Maybe like 0.8 million is what I meant. Whatever.
Either way, if you want to make an example of a team, that would be the team to do it. So hopefully, you know, the consequences aren't too severe. If they are, it's just bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
But sure, maybe there was tampering. Every team tampers. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. So it'll just be like it'll just be for optics at that point. It won't even actually be like they're trying to break down the law. So that's just my 2 cents.
I mean, Draymond Green texted Kevin Durant. The Warriors needed him one summer, and the next thing you know, July 4th, he's with Golden State. So. Yeah, so that shit happens everywhere and often. So,
exactly.
But yeah, you know, as far as Knicks back to the main point, lineups and stuff, there's bound to be some changes. You know, I personally would want Grimes in there. I think he did earn his keep last year, but he was a rookie, and Thibodeau's also just a hard ass. So we're probably just going to see a lot of Fournier, Brunson, RJ at the 3, Randle, and then Mitch, who rightfully so also got extended, by the way. And I think at fair value, personally, had his best season of the year last year. I mean, in terms of like longevity, durability, his efficiency obviously is less than that 1 year where he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record, but that doesn't even matter much. You know, he's been trying. He put effort out there this year that I don't think we've seen in years. So. Going into year 5 now, is he?
This is, I think this is year 4 for Mitch. Actually, no, because Mitchell Robinson and Kevin Knox were rookies together, right?
Yeah, and so is Luka Doncic. So you got to base it off of Luka.
This is year 5 for Mitch. Yeah.
5. Okay.
I think, you know, raw numbers like points per game, rebounds per game, you know, they've been pretty consistent on what his ability. Yeah. I think, you know, defensively, he really is that anchor where, you know, if guys get beat off the dribble, you know, they can sort of fall back on Mitch. And like we've seen his impact on our team is so crucial. And I think it's just good to like, I know he's had so many agents in the past, few years, and like that,
Yeah.
I don't know what that's a reflection of, whether it's like his personality or um any other factors at play here. But I think it was inevitable to re-sign him. I've been clamoring to pay him. I didn't want us to like not pay him and like draft Jalen Duren. It's like you're just like recycling the work of player development you just did with this guy. You know, there's still a lot of disciplining Mitch needs. I'm looking at free throws when I say that. And I'm looking at, being able to land a bit more properly, when he's either like jumping for a block or he's, colliding with players. And I think what the effort is there. I think he likes playing for New York. I think he's a really self-critical dude for sure. And I'd like to see him, I know his role is really just being this like center, but like we saw him on very, very minute occasions last season take the ball off the dribble like randomly. And I'm like, yo, he can be a bit more versatile. I know he said he was working on threes this offseason. He needs to work on free throws. Like he will not be a factor in the offense shooting threes, but as your career progresses as an NBA center, he's in year 5 right now. We have him for the next 4 years. If he's good for 1-3 a game by year 8, I'm not going to be mad. But I just wouldn't expect Thibodeau to use him like that kind of center this year.
No,
but
he's too agile to just be staying up, and too tall, like to be staying up by the 3-point line.
Yeah.
I think finding Mitch like off cuts and slashing and just like those high screens, and he just immediately dives down to the basket. Like that's his bread and butter right there. I mean, even if I've been saying like for the past few years, even if Mitch could somehow like, like even just a 15-foot away from the basket jumper, just one, a couple mid ranges a game, and if he can make them and knock them at a consistent clip, like that's already an improvement as well. But free throws are definitely the basis. He hasn't shot over 50% from free throw, I think, his entire career. I could be misremembering that, to be honest. I think he did shoot 70% the one year DeAndre Jordan was there, but it was also like one free throw game. I don't even remember.
I mean, his career in free throws was his rookie year, and he shot 60%. So, I mean, you got to consider if he improves his free throw shooting to 65, 70%, he's easily a 15-8 guy. But right now he's an 8-8 guy because when he gets to the line, he can't hit the, he can't hit his free throws half the time, less than half the time. So that's obviously a big pain point with him. And I think another thing with him that's really important is I already discussed, the way he lands, because you got to really like protect yourself and be vigilant on. I mean, injuries are uncontrollable to an extent, but
you have to be more self-aware. He falls weird on his ankles every fucking game. That's why like the fact that he played about 72 games. I think he played 72 games last year. Like that's a miracle to me with how often he's fallen on his feet and like hurt himself the past few years.
Yeah, I know it's crazy to say that, but it's a miracle for me too. But I think one thing that I have seen him improve on as I've been watching over the last few years is like biting on a lot of these pump fakes. I think he's improves on that like as the season goes on. I noticed like the first 10-20 games of the season he gets really like anxious for that, but that's just discipline that you got to know guys are going to pump fake. Guys, like as a center, like one thing I don't understand is like like people respect your ability to block the shit out of them. Like they're not just going to, half the time these guys aren't just going to go straight up at you. Like you got to realize like you got to go with the pump fake, because like if you don't budge, they're gonna be like, ah, fuck, and it just creates more difficulty. So that sort of needs to be jammed through his head, man. Like, yo, look, people respect your ability to defend. So like you can't just jump, like every time someone like fakes a shot.
Yeah, that's how Gobert's made his living too. Coming into the NBA, he was averaging like 4 and change blocks a game. And because people weren't used to him, they didn't think he could get everything. He's got like a standing reach of 9 feet 10 inches. And I think even Gobert might have started out with that, like fighting for pump fake stuff, and then now look where he's at. Just learning to be stable on the ground and also just keep your hands straight up. Like Mitch is very handsy as well, so he might not bite for the pump fake, but he has his hands on guys' backs a lot. And I think it would benefit him to, like you said, kind of just learn how to stabilize himself and just be more present on the ground than jumping up in the air. You don't have to jump for every block. He's like 7 feet tall. He could get away with not even leaving his feet. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
exactly. We saw
um,
that a few times last.
no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, Mitch Robinson's had a number of games where he's had a good amount of blocks. He's played crazy good defense, and he's been. I think I don't know if it was this year or a year prior that he had like a game-saving block at one point. Like, he could be that
Totals. It's
guy.
like a 4-year, $60 million contract, something along those lines.
I think so. Yeah, because
17
I
million
think
this year, and then
it's
yeah,
declining,
and then it
descending.
decreases till
Yeah,
2025. It does decline, yeah, or
I
it
think
does descend rather.
I think RJ's extension is also descending, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be making that up.
Well, that's
I
a
don't remember
good
seeing the numbers.
transition point into RJ.
The hero.
RJ, yeah, RJ contract.
Oh,
he got that 4-year, $120 million. There we go, baby. Check out the bobblehead, Star J.
worthy
He got that
investment, to be
4-year,
honest.
$120 million contract. Um, in the midst of the Donovan Mitchell trade, which some would argue or the potential Mitchell trade was that some would argue that could have stalled arguments. But like they had to get something done. And RJ's contract is actually ascending. So by
Oh,
the
it's
end of the
ascending. Okay.
contract, 2026, he's going to be making 29 million. Look, I think knowing that the ability of the player he is, I'll just give my 2 cents. He's our 3rd round draft pick. He's definitely our best young player. Easily, 100%. I mean, look, the dude averaged 20 points per game last season, and he, didn't have the best efficiency, like a little under 41% from the field, 32% from three, a decline in his numbers, and then free throw shooting from the year before. However, you got to consider sure, it's a whole season conglomerate of points, but, the RJ that I'm okay with us giving that much money to is the RJ we saw post January. Because early season, he always has like this rough start, and that's no excuse. But honestly, there was a role confusion. How much of a responsibility is Kemba gonna get? How good is Kemba? So you got this guy Kemba here. You got Randle thinking he's the man because he was rightfully so the year before, and then RJ kind of trying to like fit into the loop there. And then RJ had COVID and he got a little bit hurt. And I think honestly, those numbers. That October to January number skewed his numbers where he would be looking, way more valuable at the end of this season. But me as a fan watching every game, as I know you did too, Rob, I saw enough that I needed. I think we got him for a steal, especially if this year he, you know, improves his efficiency. He starts shooting 45% from the field. He starts shooting 38% from three, and his free throw shooting improves, which he said that he worked on. And if he gets more of a bag man in the mid range, dude, like his numbers are going to go up. And I think people are going to be like, wow, the Knicks got RJ on a steal of a contract. I think that's a very real possibility.
Yeah, and I would say that most Knicks fans even see that potential. They've been seeing that potential bloom since his rookie season. RJ had a rough rookie year because he was surrounded by Marcus Morris and Julius Randle, Alfred Payton, and then Mitch was still there anyway. But like the context of his playing is definitely something to consider. This post January stretch that RJ had this past season was incredible. I mean, like I will never forget when I'm standing in a casino in the Poconos, hearing RJ has 30 at the half, and I then made an admission to get to the TV to watch the rest of the game because I needed to see what happened because he was killing it, man.
Yeah.
I just don't see how people see. He's had multiple flashes and signs of like being a very good player, and just people that follow this team that swear up and down that he's just overrated and like he's inefficient and he's the worst, but not taking into account the fact that he's had to basically go against the grain by like trying to play alongside Randle, who's a hothead and egotistical at times or narcissistic. He had to play with a point guard that literally could only drive to the basket 60 times and pass out on a sloppy play. Like he fucked up the play. RJ Barrett being the lead dribbler and stuff, I don't think is necessary. I think he'll actually thrive with a better ball handler, like I was saying earlier, Brunson.
Yep.
And just being more comfortable in his shot taking and positioning on the court. Like you said, if he develops that mid range a little bit, I mean, we've seen him take a couple middies. I love it. There was that one play this year that he, Ironically, he didn't really cross up Donovan Mitchell. I guess he kind of did, but he had that nice little behind the back that turned into a fading lefty mid range, and went in. Looked pretty cool. And I want to see more of that too, because like you need to be able to be a 3-level scorer to be a relevant player, especially on the wing.
Yeah.
Because if otherwise you're just kind of forcing yourself to be relegated to just like a 3-and-D guy, or you're not a creator in any way.
Yeah.
And yet there's also statistics that I'm almost positive I saw that RJ had like one of the best assist rates or something for his position this year. I forget. I think it was NBA account on Twitter, NBA University or something, popped something up. I wish I had remembered what the number was, but like he's got the tools. He just has to know how to use them properly. And we hope that now year 4 he's worked on everything again and he comes in hot. We don't want to see another slow start to the season, like you said. He's done it past couple years.
Yeah, well, the pressure is on. He's got to put his money where his mouth is. He's saying the Knicks are going to shock the world. I believe him though, man. I saw a guy, that was like our best young player getting praise from LeBron, getting praise from, a bunch of other people, James Harden,
Jimmy Butler,
that second half of the season where it was clear that like Randle just couldn't, be that leader that we needed. And I think the most important thing is with RJ is that he's built for New York, like his personality wise, I see a bit of an ego there, but reasonably so. The guy works, super hard. And I think, in the press conferences and the way he talks to the media, he knows how to deal with a place like New York. Like that's that makes a man out of you real quick. And not only that, I think his ability to improve, his ability to be self-aware and knows limitations. When Knicks Fan TV CP did that interview with RJ at the Puma shoe reveal, he mentioned, I'm not the most talented guy, so I feel like I got to put in a little extra work than some of these guys. And I think that's a really reasonable chip to have on your shoulder. It's not a knock to you. Like, a lot of guys do take advantage of their raw talent in the NBA and then they build on that, or they are really talented and then they just sort of thrive off that and they don't really, put in work to improve. Like J.R. Smith is a good example of that. Super, super talented, could have been an all-star caliber player, but did he really put in the extra work? Who really knows? That's just my theory, but not to digress down that route. I think, RJ puts in the work. I'm just going to be curious whether, I think he's our number one guy this season, but I think, you got to be okay with like Jalen Brunson handling the ball in these late game situations too, because we got him for a reason. He's a young guy. You got to let him improve. And it's not going to be like Kemba. Like Jalen Brunson is a good player in the modern NBA. Kemba is past his prime. Kemba's done for all intents and purposes. So, I think that's going to be, obviously the Brunson addition is going to be a big factor. But overall, man, I'm happy with the extension. He's our guy. I love RJ. It's the last Knicks jersey I bought since Melo was an RJ jersey. So, I believe in him. I am realistic on, what his ceiling could be, but there's no way he doesn't improve, dude. Like, there's just no way in reality that I don't see him improving. And that makes me really excited.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, I think we could just close off there, like, because preseason's about to start on the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So, we get to see him play again, see what he's worked on. I mean, knowing Thibodeau, all the starters are going to play a good amount of minutes.
The whole game. But
yeah, I was going over the box scores from last year, and I mean, like, he did okay, I guess, but it was like there was 35 minutes played by like RJ Barrett one game, and I'm like, come on, man, you're just setting us up for failure here. But we get to see them get back in action on the 4th. Season's creeping up. I forget the 19th, I think, is the official start date. For at least for New York against Memphis. And just looking forward to it. I want to see where we
it's gonna
are.
Be a good game.
I feel like we haven't really seen much like tape and footage of what they've been doing over the summer. Other than that, like that charity game up in the Bronx. And that wasn't even with RJ. That was Brunson, Obi, and Randle, and a couple of like whoever.
Yeah.
So to see RJ play finally again will be nice.
Yeah, that'll be great. So, I'm happy for that signing. I don't know if you want to talk about a few more things while we still have time before, the games start. Hello?
Sorry. My headset's like dying, but every time
Oh,
I
okay.
wiggle the charger, it keeps going out. I heard you say you want to talk about a few more, and then it cut
Yeah,
off.
if you want to try to fit in a few more things while we still have time, unless your headphones are dying.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. If you want to raise some attention to something, feel free.
Yeah, just a little bit of a highlighting, of like our youth entering, year 2 and year 3 respectively. Guys that are gonna get big minutes. OB, IQ, Grimes,
Sims. I think Sims might still get. Oh no, but
Sims.
Isaiah Hartenstein.
So yeah, if we want to briefly touch on another pickup, Isaiah Hartenstein, which I think is a phenomenal backup player. I think he's going to be so good for the bench, and I think if Thibodeau wants to experiment with lineups, which I doubt he's going to want to do, but if I was Tom Thibodeau, I'd like to have him play with Julius Randle a little bit. I think that'd be a phenomenal tandem because Hartenstein is a center that can spread the floor, and he has passing chops. He's a really good passer. So I'd expect a lot of lobs to OB with that tandem.
He's also an exceptional rim protector.
Exactly. So you add that. I think, it kind of sucks that it'll take some minutes from Jericho because I think, his development will be key, but Jericho will find his minutes, and we signed him to guaranteed contract. So, we have him for now in the near future. IQ, I'm really interested to see, what kind of bag he's going to display because I think he's going to improve, and I could see him going up to 13, 14 points per game, really trying to, make a role as a 6-man here on this team as like our bona fide 6-man. We should be getting D Rose back, who apparently lost tons of weight and hasn't weighed as little as he does since his rookie season.
Yeah, back to his rookie weight, he said. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. So, I think D Rose was a major loss last year, but also you got to consider, we didn't have D Rose or Kemba. So there's really no actual, decent point guard that could defend last year. So now you had Jalen Brunson, and then you had D Rose. I think it'll be great to have him back, and he wants to be on our team. D Rose, everyone loves D Rose. So
yeah, man.
That'll be good to see him. And then Obi, man, we've seen Thibodeau talk about how like him and a Randle lineup, has been inflated because of like blowouts. Doesn't really make me happy to hear that because we watched the games too, Thibodeau. Like we watched the games too, Tom. Like you can't tell us, you can't gaslight us, man. That's what he's doing, acting like Obi can't get more minutes and Obi and Julius can't play together, but he's got to find a way to play Obi more than 20 minutes a game. It's really non-negotiable at this point. I think, my biggest thing here, Rob, that I just want to say is I'm looking forward to seeing these guys play, and I expect, and reasonably so, that they will get significantly more minutes. You want to know why? Because despite me liking them not trade these young guys for Donovan Mitchell, if you're not trading them for a reason, that means you got to play them now. You can't like just hold them back on trades and then like not play them. That's not how this works. Like that means you see value in them. So now you need to display that value. So the rest of the NBA can see that value and then they can contribute to winning basketball. And that's all I want to say. There's a whole Cam Reddish debacle. I just don't know where you're going to find him minutes as much as I like Cam. I don't know, where you're going to find minutes of him and that trade for Kevin Knox and like giving up a pick, sure, we got off Knox, but what are we doing? I think you should have tried to make a move and trade Cam. I think maybe they'll try to fit him in for minutes and they'll try to get like a 2nd-round pick for him. But I just don't know what they're doing with that.
Yeah, the Cam Reddish debacle is a whole other story, to be perfectly honest. Because we traded a first. Granted, it was a first that the Knicks were never going to be able to use, most likely. But
point.
You had to trade a first and Kevin Knox just to get Cam Reddish, who ultimately played like how many games before getting hurt. And then now he's kind of just even further down the depth chart with Quentin Grimes stepping up. Fournier's there, Barrett's there. I mean,
right.
at the end of the day, like Alec Burks being gone kind of helps.
That does help a lot.
One sec. I'm sorry. Everything got all messed up.
You're good. And I loved Alec Burks, but
where is it? Boom, microphone. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. Hello?
Yo.
Oh, okay. But Alec Burks being gone kind of helps Cam Reddish here. Because he was taking some of those wing minutes off the bench. Grimes will be more so well, actually, I guess if you run the 3 guard lineup of Rose, Quickly, and Grimes, then it's kind of back in the same position.
I don't
there is
too
still
much
some
agree
potential of getting
Burks.
Reddish involved. But I don't think it's going to be much, and I think it's better to just move on from him and give him opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't too much agree with the Alec Burks thing, just because he was mostly a starter, and we saw him at the point guard a lot. So he wasn't really taking up too much wing minutes. It was just like, Reddish was fine on the bench. I hear a huge echo. I hear myself.
Sorry. Yeah, no, that's my fault. I'm sorry, man. This charger cable has just been messed. I'm just gonna take it out for now. You're good.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, we can wrap up soon. I just wanted to touch on the bench and stuff. One more thing I wanted to touch on though. I agree to end that point. I'm looking forward to quickly topping Grimes' improvement, and Reddish. I'd love to see him play, but I think the experiment's kind of over. I think you got to make moves on that.
Yeah. At this point, Reddish is just like a plug and play when somebody gets injured.
That's it. So the depth is. Don't get me wrong. The depth is huge key. As DJ Khaled would say, major key.
It is.
The depth is a major key. Last thing I want to touch on is Julius Randle, real quick.
Yeah, I mean, he's the elephant in the room. So
he's the elephant in the room, man.
I would truly all I really have to say about Julius Randle, because he's been such a trending topic anyway, but I would like to see him just go back to normal. He got a little too in his head, I think, last year. After being the guy and having that all NBA season the year prior, everybody obviously loved him that year and they trusted him, but then he kind of just fed into it too much. I liked his comment that he said, I think on media day or whatever, basically how he learned that being a leader is easy when things are going good, but when it's not, you got a lot more responsibility to have. This is all paraphrased. But I want him to practice what he preaches. I want him to put those words to life and show look, I can be that guy still, the guy that got you to the 4th seed, had an all NBA season, had historically great numbers, and just getting back to that, because we haven't traded him. So the Knicks clearly see something in him, or they're just having trouble. I don't know. There's always going to be a back and forth about it. But if they're not going to trade him and he's going to be here for the remainder of his contract, at that point, he's got to step up and eat, like I said, practice what he preached in that presser.
Yeah, he's got to talk the talk. I mean, I appreciate the self-awareness. I think the reason we haven't traded him is because you don't trade this guy when his value's that low. You signed him to the contract. I think it's really all optics with trading him. And also, you don't want to give up on, this guy that did lead you to the playoffs in 2021. But, I think mentally, I don't know that he's built to be this, obviously he's not the number one. I don't know if he's built to be this leader guy. I just want him to stop thinking he has to be after that one season.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Brunson can really improve his game. I think Randle can be really good being used in the pick and roll, not dribbling the ball, taking the ball up too much and hogging the ball, taking these isolation jump shots, man. And I think, if he really just gets his ass on the floor diving for loose balls and shit, man, people are going to be happy. That's really all people want to see, man. I think it could be okay to reduce his minutes a little bit. He doesn't need to be this 38-minute a game guy, 32 minutes, 30 minutes. Because I think a lot of last year too was burnout. He was playing a lot of minutes and then you see him all tired and lethargic. And there was really no relief. It was him and RJ. And, I think for example, him and Evan have developed a nice tandem. You want to play those guys together. I think him and Obi can play together. Him and RJ have been playing together since RJ got drafted. So, they know how to play together.
Yeah, they've acclimated a little bit.
Yeah, I think Jalen Brunson's going to help his game. Dude, his play this season is dependent on his decision-making completely. Who does he want to be on this team? Does he see himself as the number one guy, as the king? Because if he does, it's not going to work. But either way, man, the future of this team is not going to revolve around him. And if he gets his value up and we can get something for him, we can get a pick, we can get some more young players. That's the obvious route to take here, because you got Obi Toppin, who's now about to be 25 somehow. And he's your power forward, man. I mean, he's more of a modern power forward. And you got to find a way to really bring Obi into that role, and it's not Julius's fault in this, but he just takes more minutes from Obi, and Tibbs isn't going to play them together. So I believe in Julius Randle. I saw what he's capable of doing, but yeah, he's got to realize when things get tough, things are tough. We've seen things get tough, and we've seen RJ, 21 years old, go to the podium stand and have to speak. We've seen him deal with that. He knows that. That's why everyone respects RJ, regardless of some bad shot selection and missing free throws and like his flaws. We see his ability, as a leader. Randall's you gotta understand, man, when things get tough, like that's when you really are a leader. Being a leader has really nothing to do when things are good. It's really easy to be a king when things are prosperous, but in wartime, what kind of king are you? That's really what it comes down to. So, look, I believe in him, but this is really the last straw, man. This is kind of it, like this season. And everyone, front office, coaching staff, players on the team, fans, we all kind of know it too.
Yeah.
So, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just as like a final touching note on Randle. Like, we saw what he was doing this year. He waved off Obi's hands. He waves off Evan Fournier's hands. He's fighting with a laptop guy on the sideline.
Yeah, man.
He's yelling at everybody.
He's walking off the cart and throwing the ball after a win. I mean, like I spent, me and you and all the Knicks fans spent too much time complaining about this guy last year. We know, the shit he fucked up on. It's just, fresh, clean slate, Yeah,
I mean, I would like to see him start fresh and like, even the people that want him gone, just like kind of like lower the temperament against him. And then just, if he starts with the bullshit again, then
he'll start fresh again in Sacramento or something.
Exactly. Like just get him out of here at that point. But I guess we'll see starting 2 days from now, how things turn out.
Well, we'll really see versus Memphis.
Yeah,
but, I'm interested to see him play with Jalen Brunson, on Tuesday. So.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna definitely tune into that game.
For sure.
But yeah, football has started, my brother. So I think it's time we cut this shit off.
Let's go, man. Let's go Jets 2-2, please.
Yes,
Steelers suck.
They do suck, and that's what I'm hoping I could go watch as the Knights Jets win. That'll be it from me. Unless, do you have anything else you want to mention, Nick?
That's it, man. Let's go. Okay, quick prediction.
Okay, yeah, sure.
How about this win count, and then where do you think we'll end this season?
My win count.
37 wins last year.
I've been hovering around like 42.
Yeah.
And I think we probably end up like 9th seed. Like we're gonna be in the play-in, I think.
Yep.
I think.
Dude, I honestly, my prediction is completely identical. I think 42, 43 wins. I think play-in. I could see us winning a play-in and then losing in like the second of the play-in, or getting to the first round and like losing the first. Setting expectations reasonable.
Yeah.
Look, man, last year we somehow maneuvered 37 wins with that team.
Exactly.
And a lot of the games, like we do every year, we lose in crunch time because we can't close. So you got to factor in, the youth improving and adding Jalen Brunson in, a good closer. That adds like 5 more wins at least. And we set those expectations. If they exceed them, then that's exciting. That's great. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody expects a 5th, 6th seed, like even a 4th seed again, just because we got Brunson.
Yeah, it's not happening.
This is a stepping stone to getting back to relevance, but in a competent way, not like a reach kind of way. And
I also have one more prediction. We're gonna fucking beat the Nets this season. We're gonna beat the Nets.
I would love to say that we will too. I don't know if we're gonna rule the series. I don't know, man. Ben Simmons coming back is a little nerve-wracking.
I don't think we even beat him last year at all in no single game.
I don't think we did either.
No,
yeah,
we're gonna beat him this year though. So
I'll be there, right with you, brother. I'm always gonna want the Nets to lose to the Knicks. So
yeah. All right, tape.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
We out of here. Thanks for listening, and as usual, follow, like, subscribe, share. If you are watching as I update this on YouTube, check out these hoodies. They're very comfy and cozy.
Get that merch, baby.
Sweating my ass off in it, to be honest.
Rob is super cozy right now. He said before the podcast, dude, I don't know if I could do it. I'm so cozy. So that's how, if you're trying to get that cozy, get a hoodie.
Winter is coming, so.
That's it.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Peace and love.